I think where a lot of agents get themselves in trouble, it's because you're not intentionally and purposefully curating that environment. They get so caught up in what to say, and you don't understand fundamentally what's actually causing this problem. You're going to continue to perpetuate it over and over and over again. I think it's a function of A, yes, knowing how to handle that, but it's also B, how to align, kind of how to curate the environment in pre-qual and with asking questions that makes it conducive for somebody saying yes when I meet with them. I should know if I do this properly, if they need to speak to somebody prior to authorizing agreements, because I should be diligent in the questions that I ask in pre-qual. If you're an agent listening to this and you find yourself in situations where that happens frequently, it's because you're not intentionally and purposefully curating that environment and making sure that all decision makers are going to be there. And if not, who needs to be consulted, and is it possible to get them on a call via Zoom or via telephone when we are meeting in person, so that way all hands are on deck and all decision makers are there, and that increases the probability that they can make a decision and go ahead and authorize paperwork.
Qualifying the lead could be the reason you get a listing or you don't get a listing. I went on an appointment this Monday. The other agent did not qualify the seller. So what he didn't realize is that the seller owed more than what the property is worth. What I realized is that he had no equity. And the only option was a short sale, basically. And the guy flat out told me, he's like, to be quite honest, like I have a better connection with him, but he didn't present me with the right plan, basically.
So that's why I wanted to make sure before we just jump into this word track, because I know that often, not always, but when I speak with agents, they get so caught up in like what to say. But let's say I teach you what to say and you don't understand fundamentally what's actually causing this problem, then you're going to continue to perpetuate it. So I need you to understand like fundamentally what the actual problem is so we can rectify it. That'll come up less, but then when it does come up less, you know what to say to handle it.
Let's practice it from a pre-qualification standpoint. And then we're going to practice it where it comes up as a surprise.
And where that would happen is in those 5% of chance, like where I'm asking all the right questions, but they just didn't share with me that there is someone. And I probably asked them directly and they were like, no, like it's fine. But then you get in front of them like, oh, I got to talk to my son. And you're like, well, I asked you that and you told me you didn't have to talk to him, right?
Now, there's 9 pieces of the puzzle, 9 rooms that you're basically clearing. One of the rooms that you're clearing is decision makers. I now ask it like, hey, I see that it's you and Tiffany on title. Will both of you be present during our meeting? And then after that, you could say, great, aside from you and Tiffany, are there any other decision makers, or is there anybody else that you would like for there to be present that would help you in deciding what is best for you and your family?
I would say something like, I've only spoken to you. Is there any other decision makers or anybody else on title, which is what you said, right? And then it's like, okay. And then let's say they try to give me the, oh no, it's fine. I make all the decisions.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, no. Yeah, you get that, particularly for men, almost invariably for men is who you'll get that from. Oh, no, it's fine. Like I make all the decisions, like, my wife just goes with whatever. And just so you know, never has somebody said that to me. And that's actually been the case. Never. They never say like, what invariably comes right after that, because you believe them. And then you go on the appointment like, I got to talk to my wife. So let's say
I'll be transparent. That's what happened to me on Monday when he's like, oh, no, I make all the decisions. Then I'll bring my wife involved. And then I'm like it got to the closing table. We handled the whole praying thing. And then it was like my wife. And then I'm like, okay, what time is your wife home? She's like 5. It was already 4. I said, you know what? If it's okay with you, I've got a couple phone calls to make. I can come back at 5 o'clock,
Oh yeah, my boy's closing, bro. I love it. And he was like, okay.
He was okay, yeah. Like
it's so good. It's so good. You're like, nah, bro, we're doing this. Even if somebody's the only one on title and they're married, somebody said this to me and I don't know who said it, but once they said it, it made a lot of sense to me. It said, if the husband is the head of the house, the woman's the neck. Like, I don't know if this is true for you, but I know in my house, I've been married for almost 20 years now. And my wife, Carla, like, if I'm the head of the household, she's the neck. So in other words, it's very difficult for me to do something that the neck won't allow me to do. And as such, I find that it's, really helpful and useful to all parties and the most efficient use of time if we're all present. So that way I can answer any questions you both may have, and then you guys can make the decision that you feel is best in terms of how to proceed.
Let's say now it's a surprise and they just bring it up. They did it. They said, hey, look, all decision makers would be there, or it's just me on the title. There's nobody else. And then they bring it up at the presentation and they're like, well, look, I actually have a friend who I run financial decisions by. I like to talk to them before taking care of any paperwork.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, and I have to imagine because, I want you to be making this decision that you feel is best, right? And whatever you decide, I'll support you 100%. So before I go, I just have a couple questions for you. And the intention in those questions is so you can get clarity and you can decide what you feel is best. And whatever you decide is okay. Fair enough?
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, so I have to imagine, particularly being that your friend's not here, they're going to be weighing heavily on your guidance because you actually are the one that met with me. Would you agree with that?
That's true.
Okay, so based on our kind of time spent together, based on the information that we sent over, based on the track record and reviews, I mean, you strike me to be straightforward. I'm the same way. Do you feel comfortable and confident with me that I can help you sell this home and I would look out for your best interest?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not even a question.
Okay, so it sounds like the recommendation that you would have to your friend would be like, hey, I want to proceed with Aaron and go ahead and put it on the market.
Yeah. That's the recommendation. But then again, I do run things by her just to kind of make sure that everything is good.
Yeah, perfect. And in an attempt to ensure that you have all the information that you need to make the best decision possible, how about we do this, if you're open to it? We can just go ahead and get her on the phone. I can give her a call or we FaceTime. I can answer any questions she may have. So that way, you can save time. I can save time. I'm sure you don't want to get back together and take another 30, 45 minutes to take paperwork. And, if it makes sense, we can take the next steps. How does that sound? And then just get them on the phone. Obviously,
the talking to your friend sounds like it's very important. And obviously, I just want to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident with this decision. What I often find happens when somebody goes off and talks to a friend is that a friend comes up with additional questions. They ask something else and you may or may not know the answers. And what often happens is I receive a phone call, either jumping on a three-way call or with the additional questions that the friend wants to know. In order to make this an efficient and effective process, since I'm already here, you're here, would you be open to just getting your friend on the line right now to see if maybe I could answer some of the questions that they may have?
Notice that these are all so there's words, but there's also like a process behind it. You know what I mean? There's a framework behind it. So I don't want people to come to this call and think that they can scribble down or watch this and think that they can just scribble down words and that's enough. It's helpful and it's important. But it's also very important in understanding the framework. So when Jose goes he's like, I want to pray about it. He's like, okay, cool. And he does that. And then he's like, and then there was something behind that, oh, I need to think about it. Or I got to talk to my wife. He's like, all right, well, and then he went down there. He's like, well, I got a few phone calls to make so I could wait outside. And then came back in and list the property. I need to understand the framework. And I need to have, as Jose's saying, one or two ways, perhaps three, for these variations, because objections are just variations of the same thing, tracks to go down. So you'll notice when I went down the first track of this, whereas I need to pray about it, it's well, do you think God works through people? Who do you think sent me to you? And he was like, yeah, I guess so. But he wasn't there yet. So I'm like, all right, so now we got to go down the track of three decisions seller needs to make prior to putting their home in the market, right? And he was like, yeah, he answered all those. And then I had to close, right? So understanding procedurally how to set it up.
Okay, let me ask you this. Hey, I need to speak privately with my wife about it. They're both there. Hey, I need to speak privately with my wife about it.
No problem, because I'm married too. And I want you guys to be on the same page and feel really good about what you're doing. What I can do, with your permission, of course, if you're open to it, I could just go ahead and walk out in the living room. I got a phone call or two to make. You guys can have a conversation. Or even I can just go wait outside in the car. And then, I can pop back in 10, 15 minutes and we can see, where you guys land with it. Does that sound okay?
Perfect. All this stuff will only work if you've done a great presentation and they like what you have to offer and they're generally considering working with you. If your presentation was not good and they're not considering working with you, none of these closes are going to
matter.
Work. They're not going to matter, basically.
No. Yeah. Hey, Jose's short on time. He's got places to go, things to do, people to see. That's his alarm bell, letting him know he's got to get on. Yeah. Make it a great day. Look forward to connecting soon.
Later, guys. Bye.
Demand is driven primarily through the cost of money. And if the cost of money keeps going up, demand will continue to shrink.
We're having much more challenging conversations with our clients.
The truth is that, we're at 30-year lows. and transaction volume. So that's why we have to be very intentional about swimming where there are actually people that are motivated and qualified, and learning the skills that we need to be able to convert the opportunities that are available to us.
Since the rates started going up, our market has been so volatile. 6 months is hot, 6 months is cool.
What is the price of gas right now in California?
Like 6 or 7.
What we don't recognize is that has second and third level consequences within the economic machine. And it takes months to work that into the system. There'll be inflation. Everything will just cost more. I don't see anybody really talking about this.